Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And was it a terrific Tuesday?
It was a boom, not a bust.
A boom, not a bust.
Mm-hmm. I
like that. Good rhythm going on there. Boom, boom, da-da-dum, boom, boom, not a bust, boom, not a bust.
I suppose.
The reason you mentioned that, no doubt, was because of its connection to the theme.
That is correct.
Being one of the answers to one of the themed clues.
That is correct.
So why don't we launch right into the theme?
Okay. Well, there were 4 themed clues, and they all, I believe, had question marks at the end of them. Is that correct? I do believe so.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the answer was a takeoff on a common phrase, but it was sort of a pun in answer to the question that was in the clue. So, for example, 17 across, sting operation at a senior center. And that was boomer bust. Boomer bust, meaning boomer, someone who might live in a senior center.
Sure.
And a bust being a sting operation.
Right.
But it wasn't boom or bust, which is the common phrase, but boomer bust.
But again, it is fun to say boomer bust, boomer bust.
Yes, it is.
I could do that all day.
It is, yes. The second one was 26 across, mission for an F-16, and that was a fight or flight. Not fight or flight, but fight or flight.
Yes.
And then we had 45 across, powdered wigs, petticoats, etc. And that was former fashion, or form or fashion in a punny way, former fashion. And then finally 61 across, quarterbacks, interception. And that was pass or fail. I like that one. Pass or fail, not pass or fail, but a pass or fail. So that was the theme.
And there was really no revealer.
No, you just had to know.
Yes.
And, you know, the former fashion, I'm like, have I ever heard that phrase? And then I looked it up and I thought, oh, I think I have. You know, you say, well, get it done by former fashion, meaning you'll get it done in one way or another, whatever it takes, you'll get it done. But I guess I haven't really heard it that often.
Yeah, that to me was sort of the one that stood out. I mean, certainly pass or fail, fight or flight, boom or bust, all of those are very common. But form or fashion, I'm like, oh, that sounds like it's stretching it.
Yeah.
This
I've heard by hook or crook.
Sure.
But not form or fashion.
I don't think they'd want to go for hook or crook.
No. What would the clue be?
For obvious reasons. Did not pass the breakfast test. So I had not too much difficulty with this crossword. In fact, I got through it pretty quickly.
Me too.
I think probably the only stretch for me was 10 down. Vietnamese sandwich was BANHMI.
BANHMI.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yes. It's funny. I had a lot of trouble in the lower center section.
Oh.
I hadn't gotten pass or fail.
Right.
And the 55 House of Blank, ruling family of the Mideast. I wasn't quite sure what that was. And I wasn't quite sure on 64 across, delight. And then finally, 67 across, the smallest bit, I of course put iota.
Yes.
And the downs weren't much better. So yeah.
So to clear all of those up, 55 across was Saud, as in the Saudis.
Yeah, but you know, 55 down was margarita garnish. And I thought, well, that's probably a lime.
I went for lime first.
But then I realized, and I put sod in, but then I thought, I don't know if that's right, because I think it might begin with an L, because that had to be lime. But then it turned out it was salt, which I don't think of as a garnish. I mean, I suppose it is. It's garnishing the glass that you drink the margarita out of.
So again, my knowledge of alcoholic drinks in spite of what the New York Times is trying to do and educate me about them, is nil. So I have this vague idea of sprinkling salt around.
Well, they wet the rim of the glass and then they dip it into salt. So you actually got a pretty, fair amount of salt around the edge. And it actually, it tastes good with a little bit of salt.
But that definitely sounds like garnish. I mean, if they're sort of scattering it about the thing rather than mixing it in, otherwise you just get salt water.
You eventually drink the salt. I do anyway. I move it around, so you drink a little bit of the drink and take the salt with it.
I usually go, bartender, I'll have a Diet Coke, please.
Yes, I
get
know.
Get this monstrosity out of my sight.
I know.
And
I don't drink very often.
But when you do, you drink salt.
No, I haven't drunk a margarita in a very long time.
Referring to or getting back to some of those other acrosses, 64 across, delight was glee.
Glee, yes.
Which I think is a great word for delight.
Yeah. I like that.
It just, it makes you want to smile as you say it. It rhymes with we. We, glee. And then, of course, as you said, 67 across was not iota, but it was a tad.
A tad, yes. And see, 48 down, 3 sheets to the wind. Not having very much there, I eventually figured out it was soused, which is not a real common word in my vocabulary. I don't have to really use that one too often.
I use that with all my students. Are you soused again?
Since you only drink Diet Coke, you're never soused.
Yeah, I'm never soused.
Say, you're soused.
It's very difficult to get drunk on Diet Coke. People have tried. No one has succeeded.
But anyway, I eventually figured it all out and got it all fit together.
Nice.
But that was really the only place I had any pause. Everything else I just was able to fill in quite quickly. Yeah.
Well, I actually had, as is my wont, a slight issue with the very first clue one across. No. Average grade for a 3.3 GPA. It was 5 letters, so I knew it had to be a plus.
Right.
And I was like, is it a C plus or a B plus? I'm always a little wobbly on those. I just tend to get A pluses. And so once we go beyond the 4.0, I get lost.
Well, figure the GPA. You give the grade, and then that figures the GPA.
Right.
For
That's
the
true.
student.
That is true. Mm-hmm. So I never see it. So it's just
never like, I think this student deserves a 3.3 GPA, so I'll give him a B plus.
But the one down helped sort it out. Nickname for George Herman Ruth was Babe, not Cabe or Dabe.
That's correct.
Let's see.
I mean, they weren't even telling you if you were on a 4-point or 5-point scale.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, GPA is usually at a 4, right?
It is, although in my high school it was at a 5.
Really? Oh, you were just overachievers.
I guess.
4 down. Many a role in Jarhead was U.S. Marine.
Right.
A jarhead is a U.S. Marine, I now know.
Yeah, that's a nickname.
I think I might have heard that name before, but not often.
I hadn't heard it until I had seen the promos for that movie. I didn't actually see the movie, but yeah, I don't know why.
Let's see, what else was interesting in this area of the crossword? We had 10 across was big shindig, and I thought it was going to be a gala because I had it. And I had the second letter being an A.
Yes.
So,
me too.
But it turned out to be bash.
A bash.
Which wasn't too hard to figure out because 12 down, hold back as the tide was stem. So that was. I mean, this is a Tuesday crossword, so we're not expecting it to be hugely difficult.
Right.
Although I am worried again between the salt and the souse that they're trying to prep us, trying to prepare us for a high alcoholic content for the next crossword.
Well, it might be. I was thinking, wasn't there? No, I guess not. I was thinking IPA was in this one too, or IP. Yeah.
Well, actually, we had 56 across, and that was
IRA.
SEP and Roth for 2 IRAs.
That's right.
I have never seen them reference SEP before.
No, me either.
Whenever they talk about Roth, it's always IRA.
IRA, that's correct.
So I presume...
I don't even know what that other kind of IRA is.
I presume
How it differs.
I don't know. Maybe it's only issued in September.
Could be.
Let's see here. 40 down was interesting, like Stephen King and Isaac Asimov, prolific.
Yes.
So which one of those two do you think was the more prolific?
I don't know, because I haven't really read any Isaac Asimov.
Okay.
But I think I'm sure he wrote many science fiction novels.
Right. I did extensive research. That's to say, I asked ChatGPT, which means that all of these numbers could be totally made up. But according to ChatGPT, Isaac Asimov wrote or edited more than 500 books.
Oh my!
Authored about 90,000 letters and postcards, and he was. I mean, I knew he wrote a lot of books. And Chat goes on to say that Stephen King has written over 60 novels, 200 short stories. And so,
Wow.
Of course, they don't say the number of pages written. I mean, maybe some of Stephen King's...
But, Stephen King novel is pretty...
Really a real tomb there.
Yeah.
I think, though, counting postcards that Isaac Asimov wrote is a bit much.
I'm amazed they kept track.
Did you just go traveling a lot? And it's like, well, let's see.
Hello from the Eiffel Tower.
Who was the author that we had a few days ago? Was it Paul Erdos? He had written so many papers.
Oh, yes.
It was like one paper a day or something.
That's right.
It's just
That's
insane.
Right. You couldn't even figure out how you could write that many papers
that's
in an
right.
academic career.
I think our show note imagery was Paul Erdos, caught at the one moment when he isn't writing a paper. Let's see. And then we had a reference to 68 across. Ensemble of 8 was an octet. They've been using the word octet quite a lot.
They have, that's true.
In reference to hot dogs primarily, but so must be
Octet week.
Octet week for Joel Fagliano. And this, by the way, was by Gary Larson, no relation, and Amy Ensz.
Right.
So a fine crossword.
Yep.
And that is it for the crossword, but it is Tuesday, time for Triplet Tuesday. And Triplet Tuesday, for those of you who are new listeners, and if you are a new listener, welcome, is that part of the podcast where one of us reads 3 clues to the other. The answer to all 3 clues is one 3-letter answer, and the clues are in decreasing order of difficulty. The object is to guess the answer in as few clues as possible.
That's right.
We do this 3 times, hence the name Triplet Tuesday. I believe you will be asking the questions today.
Asking them, yes.
I will be answering them
That
successfully or not. And listeners, by the way, if you want to play along, get ready to hit the pause button. So as soon as you hear the clue, hit pause, ponder it for as long as you want, and then resume, and you can see if I got it instead of you. Well, good luck.
Okay.
Why am I wishing you good luck? I don't know. I'm wishing myself good luck. Good luck.
I'll wish you good luck.
Why? Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, here's your first clue. New reporter.
Cub.
Right. I didn't think you'd know that.
Oh, of course. Remember, Superman, Jimmy Olsen, Cub reporter.
Oh, dear. How could I forget?
Yeah, Cub reporter Jimmy Olsen, really.
Okay. The second one was Chicago major leaguer.
Okay, I might have gotten that.
Chicago Cubs.
I probably might have gone for Blackhawk.
No, major leaguer. That's Major League Baseball.
Right.
No, and then finally, Baby Bear.
Baby Bear, yep.
Okay. Okay, well, very good.
Thank you very much.
All right, here's your next.
That's as good as I'm going to get, so I'm going to savor this moment.
Next word here. River through Seoul. Spelled Seoul, as in Seoul, South Korea.
River through Seoul. Boy, that is just cruel. I want you to know that.
But it was a clue in the New York Times crossword.
Okay, so it's got to be a word it's got to be 3 letters that turns out to become some completely different word. Mia, M-I-A.
No.
Okay.
Flying solo.
Flying Han.
Right. No, I thought that might goof you up, but it didn't.
Nope.
You are sharp tonight.
Thank you. We'll be here all week.
The last one was Ben Solo's father. I thought he'd have
Ben
to get that.
Solo?
Yes,
Really?
Kylo Ren. His real name is Ben
Oh,
Solo.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but you would have figured it out.
Maybe.
Who else? Who else would you know that had a child named Solo?
And there's a river in Seoul called the Han.
That is correct. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Here's your last one. You're doing really well
All
today.
right. Here comes the brick wall.
Trig function in brief.
Oh, great. I have a choice.
Pick one. Anyone.
Tan.
No.
Darn.
Okay, ready for number
Yes.
2? Something for the rest of the military.
Caught. C-O-T.
That's
Cotangent.
That's right.
Yeah, it would have been a while until I got to cotangent. Sine, cosine, tangent. It would have been my fourth guess if I just started doing it at random.
But I thought that was a great clue. Something for the rest of the military.
Yes. Yeah.
The last one was foldable bed.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
All right.
well done.
Woo-hoo.
Bravo. I'm giving you a hand.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the little people who got me to this place where I am today, sitting on a couch. All right.
Doing a podcast.
Doing a podcast. All right. We have to stop breaking the fourth wall here.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. And thanks for helping make this be one of the most popular podcasts about the New York Times crossword to come out of Northeast Wisconsin.
Right.
And we will be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.